So it looks like Candiace Dillard-Bassett, formerly of the Real Housewives of Potomac, has a few words for Ashley, and Ashley taking joy, almost being celebratory, after Wendy Osefo was arrested. And she says, karma never misses.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Don't forget, it is still October and we are raising money for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, raising money for Black Women's Health Imperative. We've done this before. We've just hit one of our milestones for the fundraiser, and that's over $1,000. Our goal, though, is $3,000. 100% of your donation goes to the organization. So if you haven't already, please be sure there will be a donation button somewhere around here. Please be sure to share the donation button and to make a donation. Every little bit counts. So thank you in advance for your donation. So as you know, last night we had breaking news that Wendy Osefo has responded legally to the accusations that her and her husband committed insurance fraud. And some things stood out. We also had a couple of attorneys call in. If you missed it, I've added timestamps to that video so you can take a listen to everything, including the update where Wendy in these court filings claims that she was arrested illegally. She also would like for the prosecution to provide all of the details, all the evidence that they have against them so that they can start preparing their case. She also noted that she wanted two separate trials, one for herself and one separate for Eddie Osefo. Based on what we know so far, Eddie Osefo has not had any court filings confirming who his legal representation is. Some lawyers say it is strange for them to try to handle this separately because the charges are starkly similar. However, some will say that it actually does make more sense. We had a full conversation about that yesterday. We also, a week ago, did a video talking about Ashley Darby. So Ashley Darby, as you know, is a co-star of Wendy on The Real Housewives of Potomac. And she had a show. Cameras were up at this show, literally the day that we found out that Wendy was arrested, that Friday. That night, Bravo had production up and going at Ashley's singing event. And she was making jokes saying that she is creating melodies and not catching felonies. Let me remind you what she said at this event. She had a few other things that she said.
Felonies, if you know what I mean.
That is the last person I want praying for me. If you look at her facial expressions when she's saying these things, you're like, okay. Look, even if you don't necessarily like someone or you don't know someone, I don't think we should be wishing bad on anyone, especially because, again, as Miss Esquire reminded us when this news first broke, these are allegations. These are allegations that are brought against them. And in America, still, hopefully, you're innocent until proven guilty. Yes, I will confirm that the evidence against Wendy and Eddie are pretty damning, but we shall see what their defense is. But a couple of things in regards to what Ashley had to say. First of all, everyone is saying those melodies that you're creating are felonies.
Clap if you care. All right, let's move on. Perfect.
Second of all, the play off of, Zen Wen is now in the pen. Again, people have been saying that on social media, but none of these people, including myself, know Wendy Osefo. You apparently have worked with this woman for the last 5-6 years. Also, I was under the impression that you guys were good. Yes, you had a little bit of a scuff up at the reunion, which I felt was not even that deep. You made it so deep when she referred to your on again, off again boyfriend, Josh, as Josh Harlow, play off of Jack Harlow, the white rapper. Again, she could have called him a bunch of corny people. I don't think Jack Harlow is corny. If anything, it was a compliment. I don't think she meant it necessarily as a 100% compliment, but it was light shade. Or as they said this week on Potomac, tongue in cheek. She doesn't know what that means. You'll see that on this week's episode. But it was light shade. So what stood out to me, because as you know, Candiace Dillard-Bassett has a new podcast. And she said, I was under the impression that they were good, that they were actually friends. I was really surprised. And this is coming from someone that has been around them, that is in communication with them. And based off of what Candace is saying, I think they need to bring Candace back next season. And I know some of you do not want to see Candace back. I understand, but a character that makes a lot of you bothered like that, she's a real person, but someone that makes you bothered like that, I'm putting my producer hat on. That means that she is such a person that invokes feelings that, yeah, she should be brought back. And for all of you that believe that she was fired, I don't believe she was fired at all. I do not believe that she was fired at all. But I do believe Giselle does not want Candace to return. Hence why she says she would rather Monique over Candace. But it stood out to me what Candace said in this conversation, because I was like, okay, so I'm not crazy. Because I'm like, when did Wendy and Ashley ever have an issue? Maybe they never really liked each other, but to be filming, to be in a public space with a bunch of people that don't know Wendy, for you to be like celebratory about these allegations, again, they're allegations, and then to be like, oh, but I'm praying for her. The expression on Ashley's face says to me, I don't want you to pray for me, because those prayers, you're probably praying on my downfall. You're probably praying on my downfall. I don't want those prayers. But a lot of people said, Ashley has done this. This is not new behavior. Some of you are not surprised that Ashley is doing this because of her behavior on this show. And dare I say, and I said this about Marisol and Real Housewives of Miami, Ashley is a cancer in this group. And I would rather see her go. Literally, if you watch this last episode of Potomac, Ashley was kind of there, but not really there. And it was like, okay, at least with Giselle, you see Giselle trying to be active in interact with this group. Ashley's sort of there, but not there. And we could do without it. But let's take a listen to what Candace had to say on her podcast.
The other Ashley. Forehead, girl.
Not forehead.
I wasn't saying anything, but since we're here and you put the microphone in my face, I'm going to say, I'll keep it light. Well, first of all, I thought that Wendy and Ashley were friends.
On the show so far, they seem quite cordial.
On the current season.
Yeah, so far they seem
okay.
Unless I missed something, but yeah, they seem good.
Right. Well, so when I left, they were friends. They were friends. Mm-hmm. And unless something happened this current season, what would possess Ashley to say something like that? Something so celebratory in the face of what feels like a disaster and a travesty for Wendy. Like she had to have like slept with your man for you to say something like that. And being as how you don't have one, like, what did she do? Did she like you would have had to like snatch one of my kids for me to say that, because and this is just maybe home training that some of us don't have. Even my worst enemy, and I have a couple, in their misfortune, what you will never find me doing is like you said, dancing on their graves. Like it is a recipe. You are inviting the karma to come and whoop your ass. And karma has already come and come again for Ashley, as we've seen time and time again on the show. So I'm perplexed as to why she thought that was the best choice. I know cameras were rolling at the show.
It seemed like they were. I love
the show. that would push her to just kind of go a little further. But it's like it's a soul selling of sorts that you would say this when literally misfortune can find anybody. And given, where you've come from and the person you have escaped, we don't know what you're privy to. We don't know you when he let you out that cage, we don't know what you were privy to. Allegedly.
Cage.
Allegedly.
Yeah, that's why
we don't know. So
we don't know. The soul selling element that Candace added there, that's exactly what it is. And a lot of these housewives do it. And this is why when Andy Cohen was on his platform saying she's always been an upstanding person, he has allowed you guys to believe that he's innocent in all of this. Because when he was asked about this by TMZ, or what Ashley had to say, he was like, oh, the housewives. No, you have created a space, not just on the reality show, but on Watch What Happens Live. You encourage this behavior. This is what came out during the reality TV reckoning, where other housewives were saying, like, this is encouraged. This was sort of like a battleground, that it was encouraged for people to act this way and come at each other, even if it's in another city. And he is the puppet master, so he's not innocent. So when she says a soul selling, that's exactly what it felt like. But you have to have a soul to sell one. And based off of things that Ashley has done over the years and in recent months and weeks, she's definitely sold her soul so she can secure her spot on this show. Because let's be honest, she dragged out her own divorce for multiple seasons and has really nothing else going on besides, oh, this is her new chapter. Very common. Production does not like to have two housewives that have very similar stories. And what we're getting right now is Ashley's in her second bloom and Giselle is an empty nester. Please understand, Ashley's job was probably saved by the fact that Karen was not a part of this season. And you see how many housewives and friend ofs they had to bring in this season in order to fill Karen's spot. And according to my sources, even with all of that, it wasn't enough. And some of you said watching this season, you're like, I miss Karen. Look, I'm glad that Karen is not on the season and she was serving her time and that she got a much needed break from being in the spotlight, because she claimed that was part of the reason why she had to increase her meds and she was drinking. So this show has not been good for her and a break was probably needed. But Ashley and what Ashley said, I told you, it was just something about watching it. And I get it. You see people on social media, even us, when we were reporting on the news, we have our jokes and we're like, no, this can't be it. But for someone that you actually know, that you interacted with, that you claim to be friends, we know they're not really friends, but at least civilized with it. You guys don't have beef. And even Candace, I'm thinking if something bad like this happened to a Monique or a Giselle, I don't think we're going to see Candace dancing on their graves at this particular point. But again, like Candace said, maybe it's about home training, which we already know she has none. Guys, I want to know your reaction to what Candiace Dillard-Bassett had to say on her podcast in regards to Ashley and how Ashley handled the Wendy Osefo arrest news. And again, if you haven't donated, here's your reminder. Please be sure to donate to our Breast Cancer Awareness Month fundraiser. We are almost halfway to our goal, but again, we only have 7-8 days left to October. So be sure to donate if you can. Again, 100% of your donation goes to the organization Black Women's Health Imperative. Let's continue this conversation, guys, in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching.
Here we go now.